Discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates breakthroughs. When people talk about success, they often talk about big moments, the promotion, the achievement, the recognition, the applause. But what they don't understand is that those big moments don't come from luck or from sudden waves of motivation. They come from small, disciplined decisions made every single day, even when nobody is watching. Consistency is the quiet hero behind every success story. And discipline is what makes that consistency possible. Most people start strong. They feel excited. They feel motivated. They say, oh, this time I'll do it. And for a few days or even a few weeks, they show up. But the problem is, motivation is like a spark. It burns bright for a moment and then it dies out. Discipline is the fuel that keeps the fire burning long after the excitement fades. When you build discipline, you are training yourself to show up no matter how you feel. You're teaching your mind and body that your goals matter more than your emotions in a moment. Consistency doesn't give you quick results, and that's why so many people quit. They want change overnight. They want progress to show up instantly, but real results grow day by day like a seed planted in the ground. You don't see anything at first. You water it, you care for it, you wait. Days go by, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. Nothing seems to be happening. But the seed is growing roots underneath the soil. It's becoming stronger, preparing itself for the moment it breaks through the surface. The same is true for your dreams. Discipline is the watering. Consistency is the care. And breakthroughs happen when the roots you've been building finally push you into a new level. People often admire successful individuals for their talent or their intelligence, but if you look closely, the real secret is their consistency. The athlete who trains every single morning, even when they don't feel like it. The student who studies a little each day instead of cramming at the last minute. The entrepreneur who works on their craft, their skill, their ideas every day, even when results aren't visible yet. Their breakthrough moment. The championship, the degree, the business taking off is simply the result of countless days of disciplined consistency. Discipline creates patterns. It builds habits, and habits build your future. When you repeat the same action over and over, the brain begins to accept it as normal. It becomes a part of your identity. At first, waking up early is hard. Eating healthy is hard. Focusing for long hours is hard. But discipline turns difficult actions into natural habits. Once a habit is formed, consistency becomes easier. And once consistency becomes easier, progress becomes unstoppable. Breakthroughs rarely happen randomly. They happen after days of doing the right thing, even when the wrong thing feels easier. Some people wait for inspiration before they act. Disciplined people act first, and inspiration finds them along the way. This is the difference between dreamers and achievers. A dreamer imagines what's possible. An achiever builds it brick by brick through disciplined consistency. Think about your own dreams for a moment. Maybe you want a better life. Maybe you want to get healthier, stronger, more successful, more confident, more stable. All of those things are possible, but they're on the other side of consistent effort. Discipline is what will carry you across the days when you feel tired, discouraged, lazy, or overwhelmed. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It reminds you of what you promised yourself. Breakthroughs are not just about achieving something big. Sometimes a breakthrough is simply realizing that you can trust yourself again. When you stay consistent, you rebuild your confidence. You prove to yourself that you can follow through. And once you trust yourself, your belief grows. That belief becomes energy. That energy becomes momentum. And that momentum pushes you toward new opportunities, new levels, and new results. The truth is, your biggest breakthroughs will happen after the moments when you wanted to quit but did. Every time you keep going, you're building strength. You're building resilience. You're building the kind of character that can handle success. There is no breakthrough without resistance. There's no growth without pressure. Discipline keeps you steady through that pressure so that when the breakthrough comes, you are ready to receive it. Consistency also teaches you patience. In a world where everything seems instant messaging, instant entertainment, instant distractions, patience becomes a superpower. When you are patient and disciplined, you stop rushing the process. You stop comparing yourself to others. You focus on your own journey, your own growth, your own progress. Instead of being discouraged by slow results, you appreciate the small improvement. Motivation is temporary. Discipline sustains you when you don't feel inspired. Motivation is a spark, and sparks are powerful, but sparks don't last. They ignite a fire, but only discipline keeps the fire burning when the excitement has faded. At the beginning of any goal, motivation feels strong. Your energy is high, your mind is focused, and you feel ready to take on the world. But life always tests you. The days get harder. The routine becomes repetitive. The results don't come as quickly as you expected. That same motivation that felt unstoppable begins to weaken. And if you rely on it alone, the moment it disappears, your progress disappears with it. People often wait for motivation before they start. They say, I'll begin when I feel ready, or I'll try when I'm in the mood, or I'll do it when inspiration hits me. But motivation is unreliable. It shows up randomly, and it disappears just as quickly. If your goals depend on motivation, then your progress will always be inconsistent. You might work hard one day and lose focus the next. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And consistency comes from discipline. Discipline is the ability to act even when you don't feel like it. It's the voice inside you that says, get up, when your body wants to stay in bed. It's the push that tells you to keep going when your excuses start sounding logical. It's the mindset that chooses responsibility over comfort, long-term growth over short-term pleasure. Discipline doesn't ask whether you're inspired. It requires you to act because you made a commitment to yourself. Motivation may start the journey, but discipline finishes it. It carries you through the difficult days, the slow days, the days when the world feels heavy and your energy is low. These are the days that matter most. Anyone can work hard when they feel inspired, but greatness is built in the moments when you push forward, despite not feeling inspired at all. Discipline is what separates wishful thinkers from achievers. It is the force that transforms potential into progress. Motivation is emotional, but discipline is a decision. Emotions change constantly. You might wake up one morning feeling motivated, but the next morning you might feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. Discipline is not emotional, it's logical. It's rooted in purpose and clarity and commitment. Discipline says, I will do it because I said I would. And when your actions are guided by discipline instead of emotions, you become unstoppable. Think about any meaningful achievement in life. Athletes don't win championships because they were motivated every day. Most of their success comes from practice sessions they didn't feel like doing. Writers don't finish books because inspiration strikes them daily. They finish because they sit down and write even when the words come slowly. Entrepreneurs don't build businesses because they wake up excited every morning. They build them because they keep working through failures, setbacks, and silent seasons. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you consistent long enough to see results. Your tool. One of the biggest barriers to progress is the belief you should feel inspired before you act. But action itself creates inspiration. When you start doing the work, even if you're tired, even if you're frustrated, something powerful happens. You build momentum. You create progress. And progress generates motivation. Waiting for motivation is passive. Acting with discipline is powerful. You don't wait for inspiration. You create it through movement. Discipline also builds self-respect. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you strengthen your trust in yourself. When you do what you said you would do, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, capable, and strong. This internal confidence becomes fuel. It becomes the foundation of your growth. On the other hand, breaking your own promises weakens your confidence. It creates doubt. It makes you feel like someone who can't rely on themselves. Discipline fixes that. It rebuilds your belief in your own ability to achieve. Motivation often comes from outside sources. Videos, speeches, quotes, stories, or the excitement of something new. But discipline comes from within. It's internal strength. It is the ability to govern your actions regardless of your environment. External motivation fades when the world becomes stressful, but internal discipline grows stronger through challenges. The more you practice discipline, the more it becomes part of your identity. Eventually, it feels natural. And once discipline becomes natural, you no longer need motivation to move forward. Life will always bring obstacles. There will always be days when you feel tired, overwhelmed, stressed, or unmotivated. People who rely solely on motivation crumble under pressure. But people who rely on discipline rise despite it. Every disciplined habit is a brick that builds the bridge to your dream. People often imagine success as a single leap or one big opportunity that suddenly changes everything. But the truth is much simpler and much quieter. Success is built brick by brick, action by action, choice by choice. Those small, daily habits that seem insignificant today are the very foundation that will hold the weight of your entire future. Every time you follow through on a commitment, every time you resist temptation, every time you push yourself when it would be easier to stop, you are laying down another brick. Most people underestimate the power of small actions. They want something big to happen immediately. They want dramatic progress, fast results, instant gratification. But life doesn't reward desire. Life rewards discipline. Your habits either push you forward or hold you back. They either build your future up or destroy your potential. There is no neutral ground. Each action is a vote, and each vote is shaping who you are becoming. When you choose discipline, when you choose consistency, you choose to add strength to the bridge that leads to everything you want. The bridge is never built in one day. You don't wake up with perfect habits, perfect focus, and perfect dedication. You build them. You struggle for them. You practice them. Some days the work feels heavy. Some days the progress feels invisible. Some days you wonder if anything you're doing even matters, but it does. Every brick matters because every brick is progress. Even on your slowest days, you are still building. Even on the days when your energy is low or your motivation is gone. The fact that you kept going means you added another piece to the structure that will carry you forward later. Dreams remain dreams until you give them a physical form through disciplined habit. Waking up early to study, saving money instead of spending it, practicing your skill even when you're tired, choosing peace instead of drama, focusing instead of scrolling, working instead of wishing. These are the behaviors that turn dreams into reality. These habits may not feel important today, but when you look back months or years from now, you will realize that they were the turning point. Your future self will thank you for every disciplined choice you made. Some people spend their whole lives wishing for success without ever building the habits required to support it. They talk big, dream big, hope big, but they act small. They wait for motivation before they start. They wait for the perfect timing. They wait for someone to push them. But waiting does nothing. Success is built through actions that nobody else sees, actions that don't feel glamorous or exciting. Discipline is often quiet. It doesn't show off. It doesn't entertain. It simply builds you into the kind of person who is ready for a breakthrough. Imagine two people with the same dream. One works on it only when they feel inspired. The other works on it every day, even if only a little. After a month, the difference is small. After a year, the gap is huge. After 5 years, the disciplined person is living a dream while the other's still dreaming. That is the power of disciplined habits. They compound, they multiply. They grow silently until one day the results are too big to ignore. Breaking old habits is part of the process. You can't build a new bridge if you keep carrying the bricks of old behaviors that keep you stuck. You cannot keep doing what you've always done and expect a different life. Discipline forces you to let go of laziness, excuses, and distractions. It forces you to confront your weaknesses and replace them with strength. It forces you to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. And even though this process is uncomfortable, it is necessary. Every sacrifice you make is another brick in your bridge. You must protect your habits the same way you protect your dream. People will not always understand your discipline. They may think you're too serious, too committed, or too focused. They may tell you to relax, to stop trying so hard. But they don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel or what you feel. They don't carry the dream you carry. You owe it to yourself to stay disciplined even when others don't get it. The bridge you're building is for you, not them. One day you will look back and realize that every moment you wanted to quit but did was a brick. Every day you showed up tired was a brick. Every time you said no to distractions was a brick. Every late night, early morning, quiet sacrifice, lonely hour. They were all bricks. And when you finally reach your dream, you'll understand that nothing was wasted. Nothing was small. Nothing was insignificant. Every choice built something. Your habits are constructing a path that connects where you are to where you want to be. And with every disciplined action, the bridge grows stronger, wider, more stable. Your results will never exceed the level of your discipline. People often believe that success is determined by talent, luck, or opportunity, but the truth is much more straightforward. Your life rises only to the level of the standards you set for yourself and the discipline you maintain every day. You cannot expect extraordinary results while living with ordinary habits. You cannot demand greatness from life while giving average effort. The gap between what you want and what you have is almost always a reflection of the discipline you practice. Many people have big ambitions. They want financial freedom, better health, stronger relationships, a higher level of confidence, or a successful career. They talk about it, they dream about it, they imagine what life would look like if they finally achieved those goals. But when it comes time to do the work, the consistent, disciplined work, they hesitate, they procrastinate, they find reasons to delay, they choose comfort over growth and excuses over effort. And then they wonder why their results don't change. Your results are simply feedback. They are mirrors reflecting the habits you keep. If you want more, you must become more. Life doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you're willing to work for. That work requires discipline, especially on the days when motivation disappears. Discipline is what keeps your actions aligned with your goals. It protects you from drifting backward into old patterns. It forces you to choose purpose over pleasure and consistency over convenience. Every level of life demands a higher level of discipline. If you want to move from struggling to surviving, you need discipline. If you want to move from surviving to improving, you need more discipline. And if you want to move from improving to achieving, thriving, or leading, discipline becomes non-negotiable. Each step upward requires a stronger mindset, sharper focus, and better habits. You cannot carry undisciplined behavior into a disciplined life and expect to succeed. The higher you climb, the stricter your habits must become. Think about athletes. The world sees them win championships, break records, or stand on podiums. But what they don't see are the years of discipline behind those moments. The early mornings, the strict diets, the hours of training, the sacrifices, the pain, the days they practiced even when they felt exhausted. Their results reflect their discipline. The same rule applies to every area of life. The student who excels is not always the smartest. Often it's the most disciplined. The entrepreneur who succeeds isn't always the one with the best idea. Usually it's the one who stayed disciplined through failure, setbacks, and silence. You cannot outperform your habits. If you are inconsistent, your results will be inconsistent. If you have weak discipline, your progress will be fragile. But if you train yourself to stay focused and committed every day, your results will eventually reflect that dedication. You can't skip the process. You can't cheat the grind. You can't wish your way into a better life. What you repeatedly do becomes who you are, and who you are determines what you can achieve. Discipline also reveals your priorities. You can say something matters to you, but your actions will always prove whether that's true. If you say you want to improve your health, but you don't exercise or eat well, then comfort is more important to you than health. If you say you want financial freedom but spend money carelessly, then impulse is more important than freedom. If you say you want success but spend more time scrolling, relaxing, or avoiding work, then convenience is more important than achievement. Discipline forces you to confront the truth about what you value through the choices you make every day. One of the biggest barriers to discipline is emotion. People allow their feelings to control their actions. They only work when they feel like it. They only show up when they're motivated. They only commit when it feels exciting. But feelings are temporary. They change constantly. If your actions depend on your emotions, your results will always be unpredictable. Discipline trains you to act based on commitment, not mood. When you master your emotions, you master your future. Discipline also creates momentum. When you consistently put in the effort, even in small amounts, the results compound. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to see progress, even if it's slow. That progress becomes motivation. The motivation reinforces the discipline, and the discipline strengthens your results. Over time, this creates a cycle of growth instead of a cycle of excuses. The moment you break free from inconsistency, everything in your life begins to shift. But the opposite is also true. When discipline drops, everything else declines. But your habits slip, your mindset weakens. Your routines collapse. Success is not about desire. It's about daily actions. Wanting something has never been enough to achieve it. People desire success every day. They dream about a better life. They imagine what it would feel like to finally win. They talk about their goals with excitement. But desire alone changes nothing. If desire were enough, everyone would be successful. Everyone would be disciplined. Everyone would be living at their full potential. What separates those who dream from those who achieve is simple. Consistent action taken day after day, even when no one is watching, and even when the results are not immediate. It's easy to want something. It feels good to picture yourself at the finish line. It feels good to say, one day I'll do it. But wanting doesn't move you forward. Work does. Effort does. Discipline does. Every result you desire is tied to a series of small actions that must be repeated over and over until the outcome becomes unavoidable. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You rise to the level of your habits. The energy you invest each day determines the life you eventually live. Some people confuse excitement with effort. Feel motivated and believe that feeling alone will carry them to their goals. But motivation fades. Emotions change. Life gets busy. Circumstances become challenging. In the moments when motivation disappears, desire is powerless. Only discipline, consistency, and action can keep you moving forward. Success belongs to those who show up even on the days when it feels uncomfortable, inconvenient, or discouraging. Daily actions don't need to be huge to make a difference. Small steps taken consistently become powerful over time. Reading 10 pages a day turns into entire books. Saving a small amount each week turns into financial freedom. Practicing a skill for 30 minutes a day leads to mastery. Working out for an hour improves your health and confidence. Every day you repeat the action, the progress compounds. Each small effort acts like a drop of water filling a bucket. At first it looks empty, but eventually it overflows. Not because of one giant pour, but because of countless tiny drops added consistently. Many people fail not because their dreams are too big, but because they underestimate the power of small routines. They believe they need a perfect plan, the perfect moment, or a huge burst of effort to begin. But success rarely comes from dramatic moments. It comes from quiet discipline. It comes from the willingness to do the same thing over and over, even when the process becomes repetitive or boring. It comes from choosing progress over procrastination again and again. Your actions also reveal your priorities. You can say you want a better life, but if you don't take daily steps toward it, then something else is more important to you. People often blame circumstances, time, or lack of resources, but the truth is that daily actions always expose what you truly value more. If you spend your time improving yourself, learning, working, and growing, then success is a priority. You spend your time avoiding effort, distracting yourself, or waiting for motivation, then comfort is a priority. Your life always reflects your choices. Action is also the cure for fear. Many people delay their goals because they are afraid to fail, afraid to look foolish, or afraid to make mistakes. But action builds confidence. Each time you try, you learn. Each time you move forward, the fear loses its power. You don't need to have everything figured out before you start. You learn the path by walking it. Success doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. Most breakthroughs come after a long period of consistent effort, followed by a single moment of clarity or opportunity. The people who achieve their dreams are not always the most talented or the most intelligent. They are the ones who keep going. They are the ones who take daily actions no matter what. They treat their goals like commitments instead of wishes. They know that the process may be slow, but they understand that slow progress is better than no progress. They show up every day because they know greatness is built in the dark, long before it is seen in the light. Daily actions also shape your identity. When you consistently act in alignment with your goals, you start seeing yourself differently. You start feeling like a dreamer and start feeling like a doer. You start feeling like someone who hopes and becomes someone who works. Your confidence grows. Your belief grows. Your belief grows. You begin to trust yourself because you've proven through your action that you can rely on your own discipline. This identity shift is one of the most powerful transformations Because once you see yourself as someone capable, committed, and consistent, your behavior naturally follows that belief. Success doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be persistent.